Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Chanel in the City. I'm your host, Chanel Omari. We are on iHeartRadio right now, and I have such a special treat for you, a fantastic guest, a dear friend of mine. He's a talented actor and producer. He's actually one of the stars of his lead film, Break, coming out this April, as well as another hit movie, Bardejov, Mob Cops, and Americano. This man is super busy and super doesn't skip a beat, okay? He's a talented actor, producer. Please help me welcome Darren Weiss, everybody.
Hi, Chanel. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
How are you? He's like, listen, what was that? Like, are you obsessed with me or what?
Oh, listen, I got to take you everywhere I go.
You deserve it. You're amazing.
Oh,
You are
man.
such a hard worker. First of all, I want to wish you a mazel tov and congratulations on four films that are out, which is like not the easiest thing to do. You're so talented. Talk to us about like first of all, well, I have a lot of things to talk about because last night I saw Bardejov. Danny Abikazar, our good friend, who's an amazing film director and actor, also acted in Bardejov. It's an incredible. I'm going to let you tell the story, but it's based on a true story about the Holocaust, which I think everybody as a Jew should watch. But not only just as a Jewish person, I think everybody in the world should watch, especially from what we're going through today. I cried. It's a phenomenal film. I feel like it's Oscar winning. You were phenomenal in it. When I saw your scene, I was like, holy shit, he's a phenomenal actor. Because I know you in real life. So like to see you also act and be authentic is so incredible and inspiring for me as an actress. Tell me about the film. Tell me why it's important, how it was acting with Danny Abikazar and there's a lot of talented actors. Robert Davi, who's amazing in it, Omer Hazan, and you guys have acted in other films together. So tell me about this film and tell me how it was different and why it's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, it's probably the most important film that I've been a part of just because of, everything going on in Israel and being Jewish and, growing up and having a bar mitzvah and all that and really understand what's going on with Israel. But even furthermore, my great grandpa and grandma, my great grandpa died in the Holocaust. My grandma was a survivor of the Holocaust. So when Danny called me and said, "Hey, we're doing this true story about this Holocaust survivor. We're shooting it in Israel and Slovakia. I have a really good part for you." I didn't even have to read the script. I mean, I read the script and it was unbelievable, but I didn't even have to read the script. I'm like, I'm in 100%. This means a lot to me on so many different levels. And we filmed it in Israel last year, probably like maybe June, July. So just a couple months before, the events that took place, on October 7th. And it was really something. It's an incredible story about Emil Fish, who is a Holocaust survivor, 92, 93 years old. And basically, when the Germans were coming to invade the city that Emil had lived and grew up in, he was 7 years old at the time. He was in the hospital. There was maybe 200 kids, and this doctor infected these 200 kids. He found out the Germans were coming, so he infected these 200 kids with a fake typhus virus, and basically told the Germans, "Hey, they're all going to die. It's highly contagious. You don't have to come here." And this doctor saved 200 kids, and one of these kids turned out to be Emil, who produced the movie, and he was on set. He's 92, 93 years old now, and he's all there. He's very alert, very functional. So just to be with him on set and just sort of hear him talk was truly, when he talks, you listen, and he's so full of life and so full of wisdom and has so many stories. So it was really special just to be part of that and be in his presence and help tell his story. And furthermore, Danny A,
Oh,
that's how we know him, Danny A, dear friend of ours. I cannot say enough good things about Danny A. I love that man. He's given me opportunities. That was a second movie. Since then, I just wrapped another movie, Mob Cops, on the Warner Brothers lot a couple of weeks ago. But I've worked with him a few times now. We met probably 6, 7 years ago, and he's the best. And Chanel, I know you know him as well as I do.
I
He's
love him so much too. I just want everyone to also understand like him and you, this whole crew is like, I've never met people in Hollywood in this business so graceful, so selfless, so just willing to give people opportunity and really about the art, not about the ego. And I love him because he's always believed in me and given me opportunities the same way with you. That, that's why I think everyone loves him. And he's about making the movie, right? About bigger, it's about bigger than him, bigger than us,
100%. And he's so good at telling the story of how he wants things. He's a perfectionist,
Mhm.
and he's so good to his friends, and he's just everyone always wants to be around him. And I think that's just a testament to the kind of person you want to be. Just everyone, oh, Danny A, Danny A, like everyone loves him. Everyone loves being with him, going out with him, laughing, having everyone's got a Danny A story that knows him, probably multiple, right? And it was cool. He uses a lot of the same people in his movies, right? So like
Right.
for instance,
Which,
Robert
by the way, I
Davi.
love that. And that because you don't see that pattern since Adam Sandler. There's very few like Judd Apatow, Adam Sandler, but he's more in a serious genre of like using the same cast, which I love. I think is really cool.
And you know what? That builds chemistry because you get to know these people on a personal level, and it just makes it easier when you're on set acting. It's just when you know someone, it's so much easier, and you can relate to them, and you know how they work, you know how Danny works, and it really is being on set. It's just fun. You just want to be. You don't want to leave when you're with Danny A and the
Yeah.
same people. So it's really a great there's no one like him,
There's no one
and
like him. He's such a special person. I tell him all the time, and he's so humble. I was like, "You're so amazing. You're so talented, but you're such a good person." And see, I want what everybody to take away is, yeah, of course, your career matters and dreams matter, but it's about the character and what kind of person you are at the end of the day. No matter how famous he is, no matter who he knows, he treats you, me, and everyone the same, right? With respect and equally. And that's what I love about him. But I mean, how was it to? So I want to know a couple things. How did you guys meet, right? For the audience, I think I know, but I'm saying like for the audience, no. But also, how is it getting directed by your friend? Because I beg him all the time. I'm like, please put me in a movie because I want to work with him. Because how cool is it to work with someone that's your friend, but also so amazing? You know what I'm saying? Like that's just rare.
it's so rare. So how we met. So for people that don't know, I'm a big basketball guy. I play a lot of basketball. I watch a lot of basketball. I'm a basketball fanatic. I love basketball and I love film. And Danny A is a big basketball fan. He plays basketball. He's got a basketball court in his house in Hollywood. And probably 7 or 8 years ago, when I was like 23 years old, I'm playing at this gym in Beverly Hills on a Saturday morning, and in walks this dude. He's wearing like a 1990s throwback, like championship windbreaker. It's like red and blue. He's got like a sideways hat on. He's like walking in, and I'm just like, who is this dude? And he just like walks on the court, doesn't warm up. He's starting to do like behind the back, and it was incredible. And so we start talking after the game, and nothing comes of it. Fast forward a few weeks later, I'm playing at that same gym,
Mm.
and in walks Danny, and probably 10 feet behind him walks in LeBron James and Maverick Carter. And the whole gym went silent when LeBron walked in. Mind you, this is a pickup basketball game on like a Monday night, okay? And we're just like, why is LeBron? This was when LeBron first signed with the Lakers in 2018. So everyone's like, why is LeBron at this random pickup game on a Monday night? And he came with Danny because LeBron's buddy Maverick plays in this game, right? So I got to tell you, like, I never played so hard in a pickup game in my life. LeBron was over there in the corner watching. Everyone said what up to him. And after the game, like Danny and I were sort of talking. He's like, yo, I got a house in the hills. I have my boys over every Saturday. Why don't you come and hoop? And I'm just like, I didn't know who Danny was at the time or what he did or what his background was. It was just purely basketball. And I just wanted to hoop. And I think he realized I just loved the game. So he invited me over. We started hooping every Saturday. And for people that don't know, Saturdays at Danny A's is a hell of, you never know who's going to show up. We're
Right.
just playing basketball for hours. We jump in the pool. In between games, we're tanning. He loves to tan. And everyone from like Tracy McGrady to
Wow. Yeah.
comedians that just come and watch so that's how we originally met. And then we just started playing basketball together. And then like one thing led to another, and it's turned into a beautiful friendship over the last 7 years. And working on set with him, it's so funny as a friend, like it's so funny because he knows what he wants. So he sends you the scenes, or you get ready, and I come on set and I know what I want to do. And like, like for instance, like he's big on improv, right? So like
Hmm.
we had a scene that was supposed to take place in the back of a cop car. He goes, no, 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 I'm scratching that. Here's what we want to do. He's like, you know your lines? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, I'm gonna walk up, I'm gonna say some stuff. You go with it, sort of say your lines, but I just need it in real time. I need to hear it as if we're hearing it for the first time.
See, I
And he's
love that. Sorry to, I love that
yeah,
because people don't do that anymore. I'm big on improv, and there's a big dispute in the comedy world about that too, because it's so regimen, right? No, you got to do a punch and a joke, and no, whether acting or comedy, I believe improv is a very important skill. Sorry, that's what I love
no,
about him too,
and to go
that he
off
lets you
that,
play, like he lets
and
you.
your character is reacting as if he's hearing it for the first time. You know, you can rehearse the same scene and wait for, you know, your scene partner to say something and know your beat, but it really makes you listen, and the camera picks up more on you listening than you talking. You know what I mean? It's more important as an actor to listen than it is to say your lines. So when he wants you to improv, I think you get way better reaction, you get way better performances because it's like real in live time, and you have to like be very alert rather than, oh, I'm just waiting for him to say his line, then I'm going to say my line. So it's so funny. He comes in, he's like, here's what I want to do, da 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 da, go with it. You know, you're upset, you know, say some of your lines, and you know, I'll just go off what you're saying, and then you go off what I'm saying. I'm like, great, let's do it. And it's so fun because, you know, we're friends, but like when he's got it's so Danny's such a perfectionist, and he's got this switch. So like when we're on set and he's shooting, you know, right before there's action, we're joking around, we're fucking around. 30 seconds before the take, he goes in director mode, and it's a whole new person. And it's like this switch, and it's pretty incredible how fast it goes on and off from being friends to him directing, you know, his friends in a scene. You know what I mean, Chanel?
Yeah, of course. And that's that to me, I feel like that is a skill. Because a lot of times, I talk to him about it and I'm like, how can you be that, it's important to be this person where you can be sociable and fun with your friends but also you kind of have to be a boss and a leader, on set. But that's why he's smart, because he trusts and picks the right people like yourself, like other people, like me in general, like we all work together, where he picks people he can trust, rely on, and that's why he can probably be the director, the phenomenal director he is. And you guys trust him, meaning there's nothing personal to take, because that you can trust the driver in the seat. You know that it's going to be an incredible scene. He's watching out for you too, like for the bigger picture.
100%. You know, I just, that's what you're 100% right. It comes down to just trusting each other, and like, he knows what he wants. And I trust that because I've seen it done. I've seen the work, and it's like, great, whatever you want, let's do it, you know? And I think there's a sign of like, you know, working a few times now, he trusts me in the fact they're like, anyone that has worked with him more than once, that like, he knows, you know, he'll get what he wants out of you, you know?
Exactly. And I love that. And we're going to go back to Bardejov, because there's the scene that you're in. Tell us a little bit about that scene, because it's actually one of the most powerful scenes in the movie, in my opinion. I think because that's when some of the younger kids, that's when the Holocaust starts beginning, and the head of Bardejov, which is played by Robert Davi, who's phenomenal. I want to know how it was acting with him, but there's a scene where he comes to the Nazis and they want to hide them in the barrel where you're working at, right? What is it called? The wine? Is it a wine
So it was like
barrel?
a wine celery. So
Wine
there was
cellar.
actually, I was in a few scenes. There was one where Davi plays like the lead rabbi of Bardejov, right? So
Yeah.
the scene that you're referring to, we're in the wine cellar, and I work for Davi's character. My character works for Davi's character, and Davi's sort of like, I don't play a Jewish character in the
Character, which is
film.
even more interesting and
Right.
phenomenal to me. I just want to
It
tell you
was
that. Yeah.
it was awesome. Thank you. But so we're in the wine cellar, and basically Davi's character, I bring Davi the news, oh, the Germans are coming here. And I'm not Jewish, but I have so much respect for Davi's character. Everyone in the town of Bardejov knows um who Robert Davi, you know, who he is, how much he means to the town. So basically, even my character not being Jewish and putting my life on the line, basically in the scene, I'm telling him, look, the Germans are coming. You have to leave. I have a place for you just outside these walls. It's my father's place. That's what I say to him. Like, I basically, my character is saying, I want to hide you. I want to keep you safe, which is, you know, if the Germans found that out, they would have came for me, even though my character wasn't Jewish, right? So it was a really powerful scene because Davi says, you know, I'm not going anywhere. This is my city. But what I am doing is, I think highly of you. I'm gonna make you in charge of the wine cellar. You know, this is yours now. And it was sort of like a passing of the torch. And it was a really an emotional moment because, he was like a father figure to my character. And for him to like be giving me the reins of his operation, it was just and saying no, like my character was like, I want to hide you, I want to protect you. And he was like, no, here I am, come get me. It was definitely, we were very in the moment. And working with Robert Davi, he's been around for 50 plus years. He's worked with Sinatra, he's worked with De Niro, he's worked with the biggest actors there are, and I got to spend a few days with him. This was the second movie I did with him. He was in Inside Man, and we got to know each other on Inside Man. And then we went to Danny Ye's wedding, and he performed Sinatra at Danny Ye's wedding. He's got a beautiful
Wow,
voice,
that's
beautiful voice. Not a lot of
incredible.
people know that. Yeah, he's incredible. So when we went back to Israel for a second time, we had a few days off, and him and I would rehearse, and we spent a lot of time together on the beach or at his hotel, and we just talk about like acting, life, like I would just pick his brain about anything. And he was just, he was so, he just, he would help me. He was like, almost like he was like playing his character. Like he was like almost a father figure to me in the sense that like, he just, I don't even know. He was like a mentor,
Mentor,
and
yeah.
we
How did
talked
you
about,
guys prepare together? Like you would rehearse? So you guys, I mean, actors rehearse together. Obviously, there's a thing called rehearsing before because some actors don't, they prefer to do it like in real time, like you said, but how did you guys kind of get to that? Because to me, I cried during that scene, and I'm sure a lot of people would ask why, because it was so powerful. And I think once you got to watch the movie coming out, by the way, March 19th, please, guys, it's very important to all of us. It should be important not only for, again, the Jewish community, but for the world, especially parallel to what we're going through now since October 7th and with all the anti-Semitism. I think that what you guys are doing is a movement. And so I think that's what it was so powerful, right? I feel like I can relate, and so can non-Jews right now, literally saying, would I hide you or not? And so that's a parallel to what happened. And so I think, so did you rehearse? Like, how did you guys prepare?
yeah. And, every actor is different in how they rehearse, just like you said. But, I got to know Davi a little bit before, so I had his number, and we got really close in Israel, and we still talk probably once every couple weeks now. But I saw him. We had dinner the first night I got to Israel. It was me, Danny A, Julian Brass, who was in the movie. Shout out Julian.
Shout out, Julian. Yeah.
Davi and Danny's wife. And Davi's like, hey, it's like, do you want to rehearse? I'm like, yeah, absolutely, whatever you want. So we really, I came to his hotel. He's like, listen, schmuck. He's like, I'm old. He's like, you got to come to me. And I'm like, no problem. So we rehearsed, had lunch, we went on the beach, and we were just like hanging out on the beach, rehearsing. And then he's like, listen, he's like, it's so much more than just like the words on the page. He's like, this scene is so powerful and what's happening. And we really dove into that. And when we were, it's funny, like when you think rehearse, you just think of two actors like going back and forth on their lines. But when I rehearsed with Davi, he's like, let's build some background, let's build some depthness to this. Like, what's really going on? He's like, the words don't matter. It's like the meaning behind the words that really matters. And that made me totally, from that conversation on, and I did that before, but like I sort of tackle every role I have with, the deeper meaning. Like the words on the page, sure, they matter, but they really don't matter. It's what's really going on behind the words, and making that believable.
That's so beautifully said. And the fact that like you can change characters in different movies, because we're gonna now switch gears because you did Mob Cops right around the same time that Bardejov is airing. I mean, how does that feel also as an actor emotionally when you have to, kind of go in and out of it? That's why, there's method acting, which I love. And I mean, I like what you like, improv in real time, because then you can get in and out of character without losing your mind. I mean, so how is it for you? Like, how do you prepare? How did you prepare for Mob Cops, and tell us a little bit about it? I'm just so excited for all these movies. You guys
Yeah,
don't
Mob
understand.
Cops is awesome. It's a true story about the most corrupt cops in New York City in the 80s or 90s. I was trained as a Meisner actor,
Oh,
and that's
cool.
very like in the moment sort of, it has a little bit with improv, just hearing it for the first time. And, Mob Cops, it was great, like you got to switch gears. I read it a few times, and then I just said, okay, what is my character's objective here? And I just sort of went from that. And obviously it was an incredible cast, Arquette and
Right.
Kevin
David
Conley.
Arquette's on it. David Arquette's on it. There's a lot of big ones, right?
Yeah, Kevin
Danny
Conley.
Abikazar's on it.
NEA obviously directed it and is starring in it. Jeremy Luke, who's fantastic. Um, my buddy Nate, who's unbelievable. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Do you know how to pronounce his last
Oh, Nate
name?
Buzz.
Yes, yes.
Yes, he's a huge also social media. He's been
Yeah, huge,
advocating for
huge.
Israel and the Jewish people, which shout out to Nate. We love him because for that too. And that's amazing. How was he playing in that? He's been an
Oh,
actor?
oh yeah, he's been an actor.
Yeah.
He was
See, people don't know this. You guys, we don't just come out of nowhere like magical elves, like, hey, we just decided to do this for a
no,
living,
listen,
you know?
he's been in the game a long time, and he was on a popular. I'm trying to think what show. Might have been like Teen Wolf or
Hmm.
something.
Yes,
One of
so
those
one of those
shows.
shows.
Yeah, he got
Yeah.
very popular on that, and then obviously, Lorenzo Antonucci, who was in it, who's great, and Joe Russo from The Offer, and
Oh, and our friend Mike Young.
Mike Young, who I just saw you at his comedy show in New York a few weeks ago. Mike Young was
Yeah.
awesome. George Andrakos was great. Like Rick Solomon. It's just a very, very colorful cast, and it's so funny. You could have shot a comedy if you had the cameras rolling. It could have been a comedy at the lunch table.
No,
Okay,
I
that's
could
all I
tell.
gotta
I
say.
could tell with all the photos. I was like,
It-
this
uh,
is Goodfellas on comedy steroids. I don't know
oh
why
my
they don't do
God.
behind the scenes because
I
it's
I wish
hilarious.
that they had Bo Dietl, the famous
I love
private investigator out of New York, who was in it. So it was really great. It was really fun, and you just love being on set with everyone. And it was just another. We shot on Warner Brothers, which was an awesome bucket list experience for me. 7, 8 years ago when I moved to LA, I used to drive by Warner Brothers every single day on the way to acting class, and I tell myself, I'm like, you'll be on that lot working there one day. And sure enough, here we are.
manifesting, baby. It's so powerful. I always tell my audience, that's what you have to do. Sometimes I'm a nerd and I literally will stay home and draw a vision board and post things on my vision board and manifest. And really, I feel like that's when people ask me, how did you get all these things? It's like, that's what I had to do. I mean, how else do you, or pray, of course, whatever your manifestation is.
Whatever it is, but it's you're so right. It's do it because it works, but you got to believe in what you're saying, and you really got to see it. And you can't just manifest. You got to work hard. You got to put the work in. You really got to dedicate yourself. But you know, that with manifestation of being clear on like what you see for yourself is so important, I think, in anything you do.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you have to really know what you want. And I think it's okay to know what you want and ask for it in a nice way or, believe in it. I want to get to that topic because believing in yourself, I'm sure that's been hard in Hollywood. Like, do you want to share some obstacles where you were like, I don't know if I'm going to make it? And like, or
Yeah,
people told you
I
you weren't
got
going to make it or,
yeah, oh yeah. I got a story for you.
okay.
This is when I first moved out to LA. The first thing I ever booked as an actor in LA was a play in Hollywood. It was like this little 30, 40 person play. It ran for 8 weeks every Friday night. And, you know, it was a great show. I had a lot of friends come. So the director of the show, after, he's like, listen, I want you to do another show here. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I appreciate it. I'm going to take an acting class. I want to meet people. And he said, he sort of, I won't mention his name, but he said something to me. He says, listen, he goes, you're never going to make it. He goes, you're not. He goes, if you like acting, he's like, I'll always give you a role in this theater because it's fun. But he's like, there's just too many people out here. It's too generic. He's like, you're not going to make it. He's like, and it's okay. But he's like, if you want to act, you can always come here. He's like, do this show, forget the class, just stay here. He's like, but you're never going to make it. And the second he said that, there were so many things I wanted to say to him, but I didn't say anything. And I just walked out and I said, you'll see. That's all I said.
Wow.
And this was like 3, 4 months in when I first came to LA. And yeah, basically that was crazy. But
That's incredible. How,
that's the
what,
kind of stuff that like fuels me. That's like the Kobe shit, where like that keeps me up at night. Like, like so many people have believed in me and supported me, but it's like the people that like are saying like, what are you doing? Or like, you're never going to make it. That's like what fuels me inside. Where like, like why I get up at 5:30 a.m. to go to the gym, or like, that's the stuff I think of. And it like, just like sets a flame off in me. And I'm just like, fuck them.
same. I'm the same way as you. Like, I just can't believe you don't say anything back. That's what I'm learning in therapy. It's like sometimes it's okay to keep it inside. And then, like you said, you say it to yourself, like you'll see, or you prove it through action. And I think
Correct.
that's what like handicaps us a lot in society as people. And a lot of people want to make their dreams happen. like as actors, but then or they'll like hate on people like us and be like, well, this person's not this way or that person's not that way because they're projecting, right? Because they don't feel
Right.
like, yeah,
And I feel bad for him in that sense, but that was what you in Hollywood and as an actor, you audition 50, 100 times, you maybe get one out of 100. So
right,
you have to have really thick skin and be okay hearing the word, no, or, you know, they could be looking for someone taller,
right.
longer hair, blue. It's crazy, so it's there's definitely you can't let the lows get too low and you can't let the highs get too high. And you have to like just trust in like what you're doing. And if you really believe in it and if you really have a dream, you just got to keep going. And that's sort of what's kept me in it, for so long. And now that I'm starting to, work a lot more consistently over the last few years. And I've had some really great roles, and I've been to Greece to shoot a film with, Brad Furman that's coming out later this year, which I'm really excited about, with De Niro and Jamie Foxx. And
Oh, wow.
I just last year I produced and played the lead in a movie called Break that I'm really, really excited about. That comes out in April. Gravitas just picked that up for distribution, and it's getting a 100 theater theatrical release. Like that's
Wow.
probably like, other than Bardejov, that's equally like what I'm as proud and excited about,
I love that. And tell us a little bit about what Break's about and what your character in Break, what inspired you also to make the film?
So it was over COVID, and I said, what can I do? There's nothing going on. What can I do to sort of be ready when we come out of this? And I was sort of like tired of like just always auditioning for like a role that like sort of suited me. I'm like, what's something that I really want to play that I can craft towards me? And I came up with this idea. I had some guys write it. Spencer and Deke were my writers on this. I collaborated with them. I got this really great. It's about a pool hall in Detroit, and it's about this kid that sort of has the weight of the world on his shoulders. His name's Eli. His mom's an alcoholic. His dad was a pool hall legend in Detroit who walked out in the family. His sister has special needs. He sort of works two jobs. He's out of college, or he's out of high school. He didn't go to college. All his friends have moved on, and he's uncomfortable in his own skin. And it's not until he comes upon this pool hall in Detroit where his dad used to play, where he finally feels like he can be who he is, and through these misfit toys at the pool hall. And it's sort of like an 8 Mile meets like Goodwill Hunting meets The Hustler, and we had a really great cast. My producers, Bo Youngblood and John Iardi, my director, Will Wernick, really believed in me and trusted me. And, I got to give a big shout out to Victor Rasuk, who, Victor, for anyone that doesn't know, he's been in the business 20, 25 years. He's been lead on Netflix shows. He was in Lords of Dogtown with Heath Ledger and Emile Hirsch. He was in How to Make It in America.
Wow. Favorite movies.
And I met Victor through Danny A at a basketball at his house at a basketball game, and it was funny. I knew Victor for about a year, and one day after basketball, Victor's like, "Yo," like he's like, "Do you want to come to my premiere tonight?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Oh, the show that I'm in on Netflix, the premiere's tonight." And I'm thinking, like, what did you have like I didn't know who he was. I just go there to play basketball, right? So he's like, bro, he's like, I'm playing the lead of this Netflix show, The Butcher and the Baker, or what.
Oh
I think
yeah, that's one of my favorite shows.
yeah.
Like,
So, and it's been like a year. Like we hung
oh my
out. I
God,
never ever
yeah.
like looked him up. And then I'm like, all right. So I went home and I looked him up. Like, damn, like this dude's the real deal. And we have been, and I think that's why he liked me so much, because I had no idea who he was. It was just strictly like basketball, hanging out, the boys, and like that's what happens at Danny A. We just go there, we have a good time. No one cares about anything else. Like, and Victor's like, bro, that's like why like I love you, because like you just like you are who you are. Like you had no idea who I was. So when we started casting for Break, Jeff Gaffner, my amazing casting director, I'm like, yo, I have a buddy that said he would come play for the day, just as a favor to me. He's like, oh, who's that? He's like, oh, Victor Rasuk. He's like, you can get Victor Rasuk for a day just as a favor. He's like, dude, he's like, he should be playing like opposite you, the lead. He's like, he would never do a movie of this magnitude. Like, so I called Victor, and Victor was like Victor at first was helping me like try to find other people that he knew. Like he was just like being like
A
a good
supportive friend.
friend. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Vic, I'm like, dude, I'm like, you're perfect for this role. Like, I didn't even think of it. And it was I learned so much from him on set. It was a great cast. You know, we had Jeff Kober and Caleb Emery and Wendy Braun, who's amazing, who played my mom, and Braden Brunner, who's coming onto the scene that played my love interest. And, you know, Victor, knowing him, it was just so comfortable being with him on set. He's so good. Every little thing he does has such conviction. You know, how he opens his cigarette box in the movie, or how he everything. And I learned so much from him, and he was so helpful, and we've become so close since. And he's like one of my closest people, and I will forever be indebted to him for taking a chance on me. And he gives an unbelievable performance, as does everyone in this film. And I'm really excited for it to come out. And
I love it. Yeah, it looks
yeah,
so exciting. I'm so excited for you. It's also amazing to see you in a lead role and like it's your baby. And, I just love that. I love hearing these stories. They're very inspiring to me and to everybody. I think we need to keep inspiring each other.
yeah,
Talk,
I just
yeah.
think if you, sorry to cut you off,
No,
but I
so
was just gonna say, like, if you want to do something, like, it's just like, now is the time. Like, don't wait. Like, it might sound hard, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done. It was the most challenging thing I've ever done. It's the most rewarding, the most fulfilling, all the above. But like, if there's something you want to do, like, there's someone out there that wants to do the same thing. And if you wait, or if you don't take like advantage, or if you don't try, somebody else will do that, you know? So like, I know it all sounds hard, but Rome wasn't built in one day, and neither is anything you do. So it's like taking the small steps and like just taking that leap of faith. It could be scary, Chanel. You know how it
Yeah,
is. You do a lot, you create a lot of your own things. I mean, look at like
of
the show we're on
course.
that you created,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
so
look, I mean,
thank
I know a lot of people don't know I'm an actress and I feel like I have to say it more or like I feel like I'm always having to say I'm an actress, I'm a comedian, I'm a producer, and I'm a writer, right? I have background but it's always like, or I'm a host, but I have to create as a woman, as a Jewish woman, I feel, and you can relate I don't know if it's a Jewish thing or not, but sometimes lately I feel as Jews, we have to create ourselves, right? We can't rely on others. That's kind of our formula. That's kind of our survival. I would say our survival formula of like how to get through things. And lately I've learned to ask. We had this talk, like ask for what you want because
you
it's
just don't
better than
know.
not. Yeah, you don't know. And even if you have to like not brag about yourself, but remind people, hey, here's what I do. Here's my value. Maybe I can bring value to the table, right? I mean, what would you
100%.
suggest for people to go about it in that way if they want to do something, but people don't know who they are or people shut them down, right? There's a lot of times where they're like, you're not an actress, you're not a producer, you're not a host, which is why I created Chanel in the City, so that I'm giving people opportunities and myself to show our artistry, if that makes any sense.
100, you know what? 100% it does. And, the biggest thing for me, I was very like insecure about other people's opinions, especially like when you start acting, because acting's an art, and artists, like in anything, they're going to be judged on what they do, right? And I was always very insecure about like what other people would think of me. This is when I was younger, and there's still some issues. I'm totally so comfortable with who I am today, and it's got a lot of work to get there. But when I started, I was like very insecure, and like people are gonna judge you no matter what you do. So just like fuck it, like,
Right.
and
Right.
like if you really want something done, you got to do it yourself. And like, who cares what other people think? Like, I just think life's so short. You never know. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Like, you just got to do what you truly believe in, and like what you love and enjoy. Like, and it's okay. It's not about what you say, but more about how you say it, right? So
Right.
like, you want to try to relate to people, and you don't want to, you don't want to go up to someone, a director or producer, like, hey, I'm an actor. Like, there's different ways to do that where it doesn't sound like it's so like, hey, 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 like,
Yeah, like I mean, like the way you even showed us, with just playing basketball, sometimes just bonding over things and like talking about things, like
100%. And by the way, a couple weeks ago at the Ned, for people that don't know,
yeah,
Chanel is a very, very funny comedian. She
thank you.
hosted the Ned Wednesday night, Mike Young and Richie Akiba's show every Wednesday. It's a very private, intimate show. That was my first time hearing you do stand up, and you were so funny. So keep doing it, keep
Thank
letting
you.
people know. And I think,
And we had to talk too. You really inspired me. We went and we hung out. By the way, the net is full of models, not the easiest room. And Darren did it. He was so gracious and so supportive. One day you have to come to another show that like you see the full 15-minute set of jokes, jokes, jokes.
I'm coming.
But I
I'll be
love
there.
that you gave me freedom to like, even afterwards, I was a little hard on myself. You gave me freedom to be like, no, dude, you're good. And like, this is your freedom of expression. What are you going to do? You can't be that hard on yourself. You know, you had like 10 minutes to pump up a crowd, and there's different
Right.
ways, but you got it. I think that's where I want to collaborate with people who just get it and understand and like know my value and know that like, oh my God, she can get stuff done, you know? And you're right.
I
It's
think
like
it's
that.
really important going off that who you surround yourself with. You know, you want to, somebody once said, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, you know? Um, I just think it's a testament to who you hang out with, who you spend your time with. You want people that are sort of chasing and hustling the same way you are, that sort of, just have the same goals, the same work ethic, the same values. And the right people will recognize that. I never say you never want to force like who you are or change who you are. Like being like your true self and like accepting, because and that's hard because everyone
Because you want to
deals
be
with those kind of
popular,
things.
you want to be
You want to
accepted in
be
the cool crew,
right.
whatever that is, you
You want
know?
to be liked. You want to,
Yeah.
be invited. Da 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 da. Like truly, like over the last 5 or 6 years, me saying like the mindset of like this is who I am. Like if you like it, great. If not, like great too. Like you just feel so much better inside and out, and people like gravitate towards that energy. You know what I mean? And you're
Totally.
the same way. Like I've got to know you a little bit over the last year and a half, like Fashion Week last year in New York,
Yeah.
and at the Net, and seen you a few times in LA. Like you just got to be who you are in this world, and like
Yeah.
that's what pulls people to you more than anything else. And the people that are going to be pulled to you are the people you want to be around. You don't want to like be around someone you don't enjoy being around.
That's why I love talking to you, because I could talk to you for hours just because it's inspiring to hear those stories, right? Like, and by the way, you're super humble too, which is what I love, because like literally you have 5 movies out, literally five. No, there's more. We have another one to talk about, just FYI. But like, and not only five out now, but you've done so many, and still you're willing to share your knowledge. You're willing to talk to artists. You're willing to, just be humble and do the job instead of like coming from ego. And I just think that's really important. By the way, it's called Americano. We're going to get into that soon.
Yeah. Listen, like I just looked at it when I came out here at 22, 23 years old, and I didn't really like know anyone. I remember the people that were good to me, and like that's what I want to be to people. I feel like you got to pay it back, and I got to give a huge shout out to my cousin Sam Silverstein, who I want to connect you with. Chanel, he runs a production company. He's an amazing comedy director, producer. You just got to have a support group that holds you accountable, that isn't afraid to say things like, yo, like get your shit together, or like, yo, you're doing fucking great, and it's very important. You'd rather have 4 quarters and 100 pennies in that sense. And make sure you have a support group that like is willing, that like just to tell you how it is, and I think that's been the biggest thing to hold me accountable. And like I said, Bo Youngblood, John Iardi on Break, my producers, I couldn't have done it without them. My amazing director Will Wernick, who's gone above and beyond. It truly takes a village. You can't get anything done yourself, but it starts from within with you personally, and like once you have that, then it's like off to the races.
I love that. Talk to us a little bit about what got you into acting in the first place. Like, what made you want to be an actor?
Okay, so this is crazy story. I went to Michigan State University, and I played on the women's basketball scout team. So for people
Stop.
that don't
Wait,
know,
I love this so much right now. This is amazing. Hello. This is so cool that you're admitting this. What a feminist movement. Go on. Is that even
uh,
possible?
it was the best thing ever. So basically, for people that don't know,
Love you.
college women basketball teams like
Mm.
Big Ten or like UCLA, USC, the women practice against men.
Okay.
Okay. And it's called the scout team. And you have to try out. And basically, what you do is, let's say Michigan State's playing UCLA tomorrow. We watch film with the girls on UCLA. The coach is like, okay, you're the point guard for UCLA. This is what she does. We learn UCLA's plays, and then we practice against the girls to get them ready.
Oh, cool.
So, and guys, they have walk-ons they can practice against. Girls, the rosters aren't as big, and they want to get better at what they do. So they practice against guys. So basically, I was considered a student athlete, and being a student athlete, you could enroll in any class you wanted. So when you went to, your person in college, whatever it's called, to plan your classes, they see on your account it says student athlete. It doesn't say if you're on the football team, the basketball team. I was on the women's scout team. Okay, it wasn't even like a real student athlete, but by university standards, I was considered a student athlete. So long story short, you could enroll in any class you want as a student athlete. So my counselor, that's what it's called, she's like, okay, you have three options. You can take acting one, marine biology, or quantum physics. And I'm like, acting, you know? And it was true. I was a journalism and business major, truly, and I can say this, you know, I worked for my dad every summer and I was just going to work for him out of college. Truly going to this class, it was the first time in my life, this acting class, that I looked forward to going to class and doing work. I never skipped class. I never, you know, I always did the work, but it was just sort of like, you know, like just trying
Tedious.
to
Yeah, you didn't want to do it. Like, yeah, I get that.
going through the motions, you know, like
Going through the
so
motions. Yeah.
I took this acting class and it was the first time in my life that I looked forward to going to class. So I started enrolling in acting classes, and long story short, I moved to LA. You know, my dad's like, listen, you can work for me from LA. Why don't you go out and, you know, take an acting school for a year or two, see if you really like it. I went out, joined this conservatory in Santa Monica for 2 years. The dean of the school, Michelle Danner, she gave me my first opportunity. She's like, listen, over the last 2 years, you've been doing a lot of good work. I want you to audition for my film. Fast forward, I've been in 4 of her films. I love her so dearly. She gave me my first opportunity in Hollywood to act in a film called Bad Impulse with Paul Sorvino from Goodfellas. And, you know, I was just in another movie of hers that came out, Miranda's Victim, about the Miranda rights.
Oh, right. Yes. Where
She's
can
in
we watch
one.
that movie, by the way? I wanted to ask you because I'm
Um,
gonna watch it, but we'll put a Chiron on where people
sure.
can tune in.
I,
I
it's,
personally want to watch it tonight
Yeah, oh, it's a
myself.
great movie about the true story about the Miranda rights. And, you know,
Yeah.
when your Miranda rights are read to you, it was an amazing cast. But anyway, quick shout out Michelle Danner. She gave me my first opportunity in Hollywood. I've been in 4 of her movies. I have a lot of love for her. She's a fantastic director. Still talk to her to this day. I hope she's doing another movie that I have an opportunity for. But I just think it's a testament to like working with the same people, working with Danny A 3 or 4 times, working with Michelle Danner, and then just building relationships. And you know, that's the biggest thing. So yeah, that's how I got into acting. I became very good friends with Ariel Powers, who played at Michigan State, who's now in the WNBA. I'd love to get her on the show, Chanel. I'll have to
Yes,
talk to her.
please. You know that I love anybody in our,
She's
yeah, send anybody
she's
my way.
amazing. Olympic gold medalist, plays in the WNBA, was,
Wow.
you know, a top 5 pick in the league. She came to my set. You know, whenever she comes and plays against LA, I always go and see her. And then she was in town when I was shooting Break, and she came to set. You know, I have a lot of love for Ariel. We're still friends to this day. So yeah, that's how I got into acting. I was a student athlete. I said, all right, acting one sounds better than marine biology or quantum physics, and that's
Now
how
we're
it happened.
here, and you're
We're here.
phenomenal. Really, you're one of my favorite actors. You, Danny A, Mike Young. I'm not even just saying it because we're friends. I'm saying it for real. Like I feel like we became even closer because I respect the art. Your guys' art so much, and like also not to mention you're phenomenal human beings in real life, and I just love you guys so much.
I
But
love Mike's great too.
isn't
Mike
he?
is
Yeah. How is it? Like, so you guys, is this you've acted in a couple of movies together, right? Or
Yeah, so I was in his movie coming out, Stealing Jokes, last
right?
year. Um
That comes out this year.
yeah, it comes
And
out this year.
who's in that movie? If you don't mind, it's
Um
Sebastian Malicano. I keep always right.
yeah, Sebastian
Maniscalco. I always
Maniscalco. Jeff Dye plays the lead, who's a comedian who
right.
I'm sure
That's
you know.
amazing. Love him. He's really
It's a
hot
bunch
too.
of comedians. It's a
Yeah.
comedy about comedians on the road and sort of like his story. But Mike's another great guy, you know, same sort of style as Danny, just like a lot of improv.
Yeah.
Mike is so fucking funny. I don't know if I'm allowed to
He's
swear
so
on this.
funny. Yeah. Yeah. Of course you can't. Yeah.
Like,
Because it's he's hilarious. Yo,
yeah, I mean,
I
you've been to
tell
the
him his
Met.
one-liners are like catchphrases in a rap song or on a merch shirt. He's like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Like,
And
yeah.
by the way,
It's
he
so
can rap.
smooth.
He
He
can
does.
freestyle, which is, but he is so funny.
That's what I love also about you guys. Can I tell you that you guys like are okay with doing it all? Like it's not like, oh, you're just an actor. Oh, you can't be a rapper if you're an actor. All these rules that everybody has, or like comedians. It's like you can only do comedy. It's like relax. You can if I always tell the comedians that tell me you can only do comedy. I'm like, maybe that's because you only can do comedy.
Right.
Let a girl or a guy live. If you can do acting too, or hosting, or even if you wanted to come out, Darren, with a podcast tomorrow, which I have a good idea for you guys. I think you guys as a cast should have like a podcast to bring it back to the movies, like kind of like talk about behind the scenes
Oh, that'd
once a
be
month, even once a month. If you, Danny A, um, and Mike Young, like the people that always you guys have like always are Robert Davi sharing like similar parts in movies. Why not? That's kind of like a cool.
Oh, there'd be so many
There's so many funny stories.
stories,
But yeah, so that's I wanted to say,
yeah, but yeah, shout out Mike Young,
shout
Detroit,
out Mike Young. We love you.
go check out a show every Wednesday at the Net in New York. It's the hottest comedy show. It's tough to get in, but if
Yeah,
you know
members
Mike,
only.
he'll get you in. It's fun. We had a great
Yeah,
time when I saw you there a few weeks ago, and
I
then
know. I had the best
we
time.
ended up at the box.
The box and everyone for everyone who doesn't know the box, that's also a very exclusive. How would you explain the box? I guess it's a club with a sex show aspect to it. You
That's
had
pretty
to
much
see
that was the
Darren's
first.
face. You had to see Darren's face during the whole thing. He's like, Janelle, this is not real, right? Like, what the
No,
fuck are
like
we doing here?
next thing you know, uh, you got like people on stage like sticking plungers up their asses. I'm like, that was my first time at the box, and we're all in like two booths. There's like 10 of us in two booths. From the Ned. Mike Young's there, Richie's there, like some other. I'm just like, where am I? Like I didn't like
Right.
that was my first time there. That was something.
Oh, it was your first time. Oh, so that was an experience. Okay,
That
now
was
I
an
like
experience.
that was a real experience. Yeah, for everybody, I would say check it out, but it is a little hard to get in. But we'll we'll let you know at Chanel in the City. Come to the Ned. Mike Young will get you in somehow, and he's the plug, right? We have the plug here,
And then we'll just roll.
and then we'll just roll. Well, let's talk a little bit about Americano, which is another movie you're in. I love the name. Talk to us a little bit about what that's about and like your character in that.
So this was great. Americano, coming of age, sort of like a Breakfast Club feel. It's about this guy, Jack Armstrong. I play the lead. He played college basketball. He has a knee injury. He comes back to run his family's coffee shop, and he sees his friends that he hasn't seen in a long time from like high school. They get together every day morning at the coffee shop. Jack sort of is rehabbing his knee. He has plans, he wants to play professionally. His mom, his dad had died a few years ago. His mom wants him to run the coffee shop. And it's just sort of like a coming to age story. All these characters are sort of dealing with something different and they're helping each other with their struggles. And they meet at Jack's coffee shop every morning. Denny Gallagher, who wrote it, directed it, gave me an opportunity. Actually, another Danny A connection, Ben Lyons,
Mm,
who you might know, good friend of mine, actually recommended me for the role and connected me through Denny to Denny, the director. So shout out Danny A because I met Ben Lyons through Danny A. So
it's
it was
amazing.
really great. It was at the beginning of January for 3 weeks in New York. And then I had like 4 days off, flew back to LA, and I was on the set of Mob Cops, which is
I can't,
totally
it's
different.
amazing. No, that's just so amazing. And then like, right, back to back movies. People think when make a film and it airs, like you're on set for like months. Sometimes you
Right.
can be, and sometimes
Sometimes,
it could
but
be like 5 days and then the next one. How was that transition from Americano to Mob Cops for you?
it was great. Americano, I probably worked like 14 of 16 days, like
Yeah.
13 hours a day. So like it was great. I loved it. I was just like very tired. And then, you have the time change, you fly back to LA, and um I mean it's tough, but like just like anything, you just gotta like that's what we do, right? Like
Yeah.
you signed up for, and it's just like, okay, like Americano like was amazing. And it's funny, I got the role in Danny's film, and I'm like, you know what? Like I read it a few times just to sort of massage it in my brain, but I'm like, I don't want to start breaking this down until I'm done with Americano because I want to give my all to this and then I'll focus.
Right.
And I put in a lot of work on the plane from New York back to LA, like 5 hours. And like after that plane, I was like, all right, like I know what this character wants. I know what Danny's looking for. I had like 2 or 3 days. I rehearsed with my acting coach, Chase Fine. Shout out Chase Fine.
Shout out
And
Chase Fine. This is important. Like that. I love that you're
oh,
shouting
you
people
got
out
you
too
got to
then.
show love to the people that, like I said, it's a team, and Chase really helped me in break. He really helps me with any audition. I love Chase. He's like, we connect so well. You got to find someone that like you just like working with. Shout out AJ Troop, my boy AJ helps me a lot too. Like,
I just sorry, I want to not to interrupt, but I want to take a moment for the audience to pay attention and other artists that listen into this show, and other celebrities we've had on why it's so important what Darren's saying and crucial because it's okay. So in the comedy world, I'm sorry, I'm keep bringing the comedy example, but in comedy, a lot of people are shamed or embarrassed to admit that they work with co-writers. It kind of like I think the game of comedy, you feel like solo on stage and you feel like the art has to come from within. But what I love about you, Danny A and Mike Young, it's like you guys know how to articulate this. Like it's bigger than you. in a way, and you know that. So like you're cool with sharing and shouting out people who you know it takes a team of talented people to make the movie, but that doesn't take away from you as an artist or as an actor,
And
right?
it
Like
shouldn't. If anything, like maybe
how important it
sometimes
is to
people are
give
like
credit.
embarrassed. I think it's so important, Chanel. Like you like like AJ Troop, my buddy, very good actor. He holds me accountable. He's like, you got to be better than this. You got to do this. Chase Fine, who I work with in acting, he knows like you can you can't do anything alone, and like I'm totally good with like, like who we are, and it's like, like it's not a one-man show, you know what I mean?
Right. It's
And
not and it never is in life, right? I mean, I want,
you
listen,
have to show appreciation, Chanel, because if you don't, like, I mean, I don't have to say it,
yeah, I love that about you. I really, and this is what I always tell everybody, to the audience, when you're investing in actors or comics, make sure you're investing in the right people that are good people on and off stage. Like my friend Darren Weiss, who's amazing. Like literally, I know you're like this off stage, like off camera. That's what I freaking love about you. Like literally, we'll get off like when we get off this podcast, we're gonna still talk the same way. We're gonna party the same way. That's what's long lasting.
and that exactly, you said it. That's what's long lasting. Just find people that like you for you, and that like aren't afraid to tell you things, and like that push to strive, like that push you to want to be better, and like push you to new heights. That's
Yeah,
like that's the biggest thing. Like you have to have like a support group, or like people that do all that. You
right.
can't, it's impossible to do it on your own.
Yeah. How was, by the way, with your part in Mob Cops, talk to us about your part, like what you and how it was to act with David Arquette, because that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, I mean, David Arquette's a legend. So my
Yeah.
part, I played like this sort of like this greaseball character that's sort of been like in and out of jail, has like, like warrants for arrest. I'm out right now. And I sort of work at this used car lot that Jeremy Luke's character um comes, I'm working for Jeremy Luke, who, is a cop, but really is working for the mob. And he comes to pick up like a wad of cash from me, and the cops are spying on us. And basically Jeremy Luke comes up, and I give him the money. I'm helping some folks out, like buy a used car. Jeremy Luke leaves. And then Danny A and Nate Buzz are the cops. They come up and they're like, listen, like, we know what just happened. You got to give us information on this guy. And, my character is like being pulled because it's like, I'm not a snitch. I don't want to go back to jail. I don't want to go back to jail, but I don't want to snitch on Jeremy Luke's character, because Jeremy Luke's character will kill me.
Right.
But it's like, I ain't fucking going back to jail. I just had a kid. I got a wife. I just made $5,000 selling this car. Like, I'm good, So, and it's funny, Danny A, another testament to just the improv stuff. Danny A added a whole other scene, an extra scene. He's like, yo, like, listen, we need to add a little bit more back character. He's like, you and Jeremy Luke are going to do this money exchange. We're going to be watching in the corner. We're going to pull up. I'm going to tell you like what I just saw. That was never planned. He told me about that 5 minutes before, and it was all improv. He came up to Jeremy, Luke, and I. Jeremy's a fantastic actor. And he's like, listen, he's like, Jeremy, you're coming to get money from Darren. Darren, you got money in the glove box. Walk over there, tell the people that that you're helping buy the car. This old woman, tell her, it'd be a beautiful car for her nephew. Tell Jeremy, that you got the money and you can't go with him to go drop the money off. Da 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 da. He's like, all right, good, figure it out. And I'm just like, okay. And that was literally 5 minutes before our scene, right? That was literally. It was so funny. And
That's
then
so
like.
cool. Like I love that.
So I had a whole nother scene, totally improv. We did that, and then we did the scene that I had rehearsed for like 2 weeks. It was just so fun. Like when everyone's just down for the cause, like
Yeah.
it makes it so much easier to collaborate when everyone's like on the same page and isn't giving pushback. It's like,
Yes.
and from your improv world, it's like yes and it's like yes and what else do you want me to do? Not like, well, what about this, or you know what I mean?
It's not like, yeah, let's stick to sometimes like, yes, sticking to the story and the script is great. And if you can do it, great. But sometimes like going off script is also beautiful. Like that's what I want all artists to feel empowered by. I know I'm really passionate about that.
And
I know
don't be
not
afraid
everybody's
to take
nature.
the
Yeah.
leap to do
Yes,
that.
yes. Don't
You
be a,
know,
yeah,
it's not theater. Like if you mess up, if you take a big swing, it's like all good. The director will either be great or okay, that didn't work. Do it like this and
exactly.
get 4 more takes at it.
how did you cope with not taking things personal? So with, let's say you were casted for one role, and let's say the director's like, Darren, I don't like it. I don't like the way that was shot or the way that was set. Do it again. Do you ever take that personal?
Honestly, like, no, I
Right.
really don't. It's just like I take that more as like me telling myself just because I'm so in my head. I'm just like, yo, like that fucking sucked. The director clearly didn't like it. Listen and do what he or she wants you to do. You know?
Right. But it's more like that's right. It's not personal. It's just feedback. They
It's
just,
just
it's
it's constructive feedback, and you in our business of entertainment, like that's what it is. You have to be open to constructive feedback. Or if you're not, then they might not hire you to work again on their next movie or their next show or recommend you to someone, So like you have to know at the same time, like if you're an actor, the director is the boss and has ultimate say. And it's like you might have a great idea, but if they don't like it, just be like, okay, like
yeah. I
it is what
talked
it is.
I talked to Danny A about it on the podcast on the show when he came on to talk about the engineer and Bardejov, and we spoke about how like I told him I'm like the reason why I love you so much too is because I can be honest with you and talk to you and tell you, hey, um what do you think if I, about this? I might not have a script. What do you think about this idea? And he'll be open to it and just tell me, hey, this might not work or this might work. I think it's important to be so direct and honest, and in order to work with people. And I don't know, I'm just a person like you. I'm willing to always fix it. I don't take it personal. I'm willing to,
100%.
hey, what can I bring back? How can I bring more value to this? And I just think that's really crucial.
And by the way, Chanel, like we're this improv scene that we were doing, like I was selling cars to this older woman and like her grandson.
Hmm.
And Danny, like I was sort of like all over the place yelling. And after the scene, Danny came in, he's like, listen, he's like, relax. He's like, you're not yelling at him, you're trying to sell a car. Just be like, hey, your nephew would look great in this car. Tell her you got AC included or you'll redo the rims or something. And it was like totally different than what I was saying. I'm like, you know what? 100, you're right, 100%. Like, and it's just boom, and
Right.
you do it and you move on.
And that's what makes an amazing director and actor and a chemist, a cast. First of all, I'm like obsessed with this cast. I can't, it's like the Goodfellas on, I always say Goodfellas on steroids. It's going to be a phenomenal movie. It's going to be
Oh,
like
it's so
a great,
exciting.
it's like a mob movie, basically.
Yeah,
It's mob
it's a
cops.
true story about, yeah.
That's cool. Okay, let's talk about a little bit about the being a lead as opposed to being a supporting character. When it comes to casting, how does that work for you usually? When you're either casting your own movie, like what do you look for? And yeah, does it matter to you when you're a lead? Or of course we strive to be the lead, but like, does that matter as an actor?
You know what? I think just what matters to me is doing meaningful work,
Yeah.
challenging work, and having putting your all in or having the conviction. Obviously, everyone always wants to be the lead, and I've been fortunate enough to play a lead in two movies now. And I'd say the biggest thing as a lead, and Victor Rasuk on break told me this before he called me the night before day one of break because he's been leads and he was playing, supporting this. He goes, everyone gravitates around the energy of the lead. And he's like, make it a point. He's like, when you get to set every day, make sure you learn everyone's names from hair to makeup to wardrobe to the
Wow.
first AD to the gaffer. He's like, your energy, how you come to set. And him saying this, because I've been on other sets, I won't say names, where like the lead like would be rude to the makeup person or would be very short on set. And it's just like you feel that energy. So like you have to come in with energy. You're like the captain of like a sports team, and like people are gonna like gravitate off how you give off your energy, right? So the biggest thing with a lead is like you have to set the tone each and every day, and people are feeding off you and being supporting. Obviously, you're not there every day. The lead, you're there every day, but look, a supporting role, I'll do like I'm just happy to work, and
Yeah.
like I was a supporting role in Mob Cops, and I had scene with Jeremy Luke, who was the lead, Danny A, and Nate, and you just have to know your role. You have to know like, okay, you're moving, in this. My character was important, but I was moving the story forward.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're supporting, right, and also the lead actors to move the story forward. Her, without you,
I'm
you can't
setting
move the
them
story.
up.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the truth. That's
So,
teamwork.
right.
Teamwork makes the dream work. I never understood also football and I love basketball. Just so you know, I'm also like a basketball fan as a woman. I never really liked sports. That's part of my comic bit, like how women don't give a shit about sports, right? We don't give a shit about Super Bowl or football, except for like that vitamin D, except for when you guys tell us, like, I want the Jets to win. I'm like, are you going to get me laid tonight? Then I'll fucking vote for the Jets. Or, you know what I mean?
Amen, baby.
Amen, baby. Wait, what's your favorite sports team? Speaking about that.
Oh man, like I'm a big just Detroit fan. Like so the
Okay.
Lions, they lost last week. That was
Sorry about
depressing.
that.
But love the Lions, love the Red Wings, the Pistons.
That's football, right?
I'm a huge
Yeah. Okay. Basketball.
basketball. Lions is football. I'm a huge LeBron fan. Danny and
Yeah.
I go back and forth on this all the time. I think LeBron's the best ever. He thinks Jordan's the best ever. I will die on the LeBron hill.
I don't know.
Um,
That's tough. I know Michael or LeBron. That's tough. I
that's
also
the
feel like Michael
question.
because he's original,
You know
I
what? I think
guess. But
older,
LeBron's so good.
yeah. So I'm a huge sports guy. But yeah, I think it just goes back to like, I grew up playing sports. I didn't grow up really in the theater. So like I'm sort of used to being around like different people and, the team and, like having that sort of team camaraderie. And I think I see it like when you're on a movie, if you're there for more than one day, it's sort of they're very, very similar, you know?
Yeah. I love that teamwork. I love acting. It's just movies are, I grew up on movies and I just think it's telling stories is so important. Let me ask you this too, like, and this is switching gears. As a Jewish actor, I mean, even though you're Jewish American, did you ever feel like you faced anti-Semitism at all throughout the industry? And I mean, or have seen it? And if so, how did you deal with it?
I've definitely seen it. To say I can't say like I've dealt with it like head on where
Mm.
someone's like, I'm not hiring you because you're Jewish.
Right. But like
Um,
subtle, I feel like that happens to me too, but like it's almost like subtly, like I know they're not
you know
hiring
what?
me.
I've sort of taken some mental notes, like, I'll, repost things on Instagram or
Mhm.
post something and I see some people that might unfollow me or like, and you know what? It is what it is. I think everyone's entitled to their opinion, every, I'm very strongly opinionated and especially when it comes to stuff with Israel, I think it's very important, like
Yeah.
never again is now,
Yeah.
and I just think, I just want people to understand from all angles and be educated. And I think, sometimes there's a lot of misinformation spread.
Yeah.
And I can't say that I've directly like if it's directed if it's affected me in Hollywood, I don't know that I
Well, it's
don't know
because
if
you
that was the
choose,
reason.
right? Because you choose people that are similar to you that also have, you've also worked with a lot of Jewish Israeli actors, which is smart.
Which I've
Meaning
been so fortunate,
that's
like
what I'm going to start doing
Brad
too.
Furman, Mike Young,
Yeah.
just like I
Danny
said,
A.
like-minded individuals. And Danny and I have talked at lengths about the situation in Israel and facing anti-Semitism in the industry and sort of how he deals with it. He deals with it a lot more as a director and producer. He's shown me some crazy DMs and yeah, I just think
I know he's helped me through it too. Like, Chanel, sometimes you don't have to over explain yourself. And because I feel sometimes I have to over explain myself, especially since what happened since October 7th. Like, as a woman, right? And now as an Israeli woman, it's like people not believing us. That's already a problem. And now what happened after those horrific acts, the world going against us, and then you trying to over explain yourself for your people is just it's beyond me. That's why it's good to have a good support team. And I hope it gets better, the situation. I mean, what do you think needs to change for the hatred in this world to go away from, against us? Because I just I can't even believe it.
you know, I think a lot's got to change, but I
Mm.
think it starts, I do think that one person can positively impact, they say not one person can change the world, but I disagree. I think one person can positively or negatively affect a lot of people, right? So I just think, like, just really like taking a stand for like what you believe in and, being educated and like if you can open I don't want to say change someone's mind, but if you can just educate someone
Yeah.
you never know what the power of one person can do, or the effect, or your actions, or like being in Bardejov, which is such a huge movement, or like any of that. What do you think? Like, what would you
I
tell someone?
I think that like you're right. I think we have to have more of these uncomfortable conversations, unfortunately, and talk about it and let our audiences know like, this is important to us. We are Jews. We are here to stay, never again is now. That's why I'm so proud of you guys doing the movie. Bardejov is such an important film because it's so parallel to what's happening. I mean, looking at the scenes of that film of when from the moment when they told the Nazis that the girls are going to go away in that town, working for shoe factories and just manipulating them into gas chambers is similarly to what pro Hamas protesters are doing now, scaring us with psychological warfare. We're not knowing what's happening. Should the Jews even walk out of their apartment in New York City or should they stay in? So there's a lot that has to change. I think speaking up. I think telling stories like Bardajov. I think you guys not being scared to talk about Israel. And by the way, it's not about being political or religious at all. It's about the fact that Israel's a Jewish state. We needed to make it a Jewish state for our safety. I don't think a lot of people realize how unsafe Jewish people feel sometimes,
100%, even in America,
in
anywhere.
America. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I hope it
absolutely.
it ends, and I just hope and I hope we have more actors like you and filmmakers that can continue telling stories and, that can hopefully end this anti-Semitism in this world. Our heart goes out to the hostages, obviously the innocent civilians, that's heartbreaking. How was it though? You were filming, did you film in Israel around that time?
Yeah, it was probably 6 weeks
Oh my
before.
God.
It was late July, so maybe it was into August, early July. It was early August.
Yeah. I mean, isn't
I
that
mean,
crazy that
look,
that
like,
happened right after and you were filming? That's what I
look,
told Danny. Like, how
look,
crazy is that?
I tell people all the time, I'm like, that could have been me. Like,
Right.
if that
Me too.
movie went 6 weeks later, that would have been me, and who knows what would have happened. I could have been killed. I could have
Yeah.
been trapped there. So it was very nice to just be, that was my third time in Israel. It was just very nice to be connected, spend Shabbat there.
How
Um,
beautiful is Israel, right? Like the experience.
Being on the beach in Tel Aviv, there's really no place like it. Chanel, it's like there's like something in the air. I can't
Yeah.
explain it unless you can't explain it unless you've been there.
Yeah.
It's a very magical and special place, And
Which I
even
think
people that
yeah.
aren't Jewish say that. I had a buddy that just went to Israel, um, who's not Jewish, and he's like, wow, he's like, I have a whole different outlook on everything.
Well, I was gonna say, like that's why I think I get a little more emotional and passionate about it because the IDF is not there just to protect the Israeli citizens and the Jewish people, but like other citizens that are Muslims and Christian, like they're there to protect the state against terrorism. But we won't get too much into it. We just hope, terrorism ends and war ends and our people are safe. And I pray for a better day, and I hope everybody sees Bardajov because you guys need to be educated on how this started. Emil, when I saw him at the premiere, um, who the story is based on, he said something so important. He said, if you don't watch it, if you don't continue telling these stories when it happened from the Holocaust, then you're never going to see change. It's always going to repeat itself. History is always going to repeat itself, is my point. Um,
Exactly. So you have to speak up if you have the opportunity and the platform. Um, then it's almost like you have to.
yeah. And it's hard to speak up
It's
sometimes. And
your
I understand.
responsibility.
Yes. Yeah. And especially you being a descent from, you said your grandparents or your grandmother was a survivor. So that's incredible that like you are literally a generation that survived from the Holocaust. That's incredible to me.
And I'm so thankful, and I wouldn't be here obviously if they didn't.
Yeah, I love that.
So
I know it's a little depressing. We're praying for a better tomorrow. And my dad's Israeli, so of course, guys, like I have to vouch for my family. Okay, he gave birth to me. Hello, I love how some people are like, I just can't believe you're on the. I'm like on Israel's side. I'm like, first of all, there's no side. Second of all, I'm Israeli, so it'd be really crazy if I took a terrorist side. But anyway, I just pray for Israel. We love Israel. We love you guys. And Bardejov, March 19th, you can check out Darren Weiss and such a phenomenal film. I guarantee you guys, if I'm wrong, which I'm never really wrong,
rarely.
rarely. Thank you
Yeah,
for,
never. Actually, never.
but I'm kidding. No, I could be wrong. I have a gut feeling this is going to be Oscar. I thought it was Oscar worthy to me. And I've seen films and I had chills when I watched it. I'm telling you, I cried and it was emotional and it was powerful. So a good job done, Mazal Tov. Anything else that we can expect from you that you're working on that you want to share with us a little bit?
Just wrapped Americano and Tin Soldiers slated to come out this year. That's the movie I did with Brad Furman in Greece.
Right.
It's a movie with Jamie Foxx and De Niro, and that should be out later this year. And
How is it
yeah,
to work with Jamie Foxx?
I mean, great. Like he's another legend, he's really a cool guy. And again, we were in northern Greece, Thessaloniki, Greece. It wasn't like we were in Santorini or, Mykonos, so like it was a lot of like it was very hot in the summer and we were just a lot of everyone spending time together because there was really not much else to do, so like that was really great. Obviously Break is coming out April 26th. That'll be in theaters, and then it'll go to VOD on iTunes and Amazon, and so I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, we'll see what else comes here.
I love it. Let's also, I know we're going to wrap up in a few minutes, but talk to us a little bit about, you know, making films in general. Are you into directing? Are you into producing? When you do that, when you come up with a film, besides auditioning for someone else's film, what do you look for? Like, what are you looking to tell? Like, what kind of stories are you looking to tell?
First and foremost, I think story is the most important thing. I do love producing and acting and being able to act in something I'm producing. I'm not, I don't think directing, maybe one day, not now. I have a lot of appreciation for the Danny A's, the Will Wernicks, the Michelle Danners, the Brad Furmans of the world, because, like,
A
talk
lot.
about stress, holy fuck. I just look for stories that people want to hear. I want to tell a story that affects someone in a positive way, or, you know, what I always tell people, I want somebody to come up to me at the gas station and be like, listen, like that role you played in Break, I could relate to that. That's something that I went through as a child. Like that's what does it for me. Like I want to be able to relate to people and the stories or the characters I play. And that's the biggest thing with producing. I mean, obviously I love comedy. I think, laughter is the cure to a lot of things. But if it's not comedy, I want to do something that people can relate to and people can feel and people can understand and, take a liking to,
Yeah,
so
it's not about the
that's
fame. Oh,
exactly. That's what I look to do, those kind of projects. And I just want to do it with people that I enjoy working with, like um so we'll see. I'm hoping to produce a comedy later this summer with my cousin Sam Silverstein. It's a really great
oh,
script
I
that I'm
can't
excited
wait.
to talk to you about after this show.
Please have me in mind. I love that. And I also
Absolutely.
think of you too. Of like, that's the thing.
Oh,
I'm gonna go to you. The funny thing is because yeah, actors. You don't have to be a comedian per se, like a stand-up. I'm saying, like, I'll think about my actor friends first for the movies like that I'm, working on or other things. So yeah, we should definitely talk about it. That's
100%.
amazing that that's coming out. I think you'd be amazing in comedy.
Uh, I'm really excited. It's a really good script. So, yeah, I just think producing, you got to wear a lot of hats. You got to answer, and there's a lot of things on your plate, and you just got to be ready for it all. And I like it because you're sort of more in control of like casting and locations and everything, And for me, like
Right.
I'm such a perfectionist that like I sort of like having the say in a lot of things, and um, so that's what I like about producing. I don't like all the paperwork that goes with it and all that. So shout out Bo Youngblood. Could not have done Break without you. Like you're a beast. Yeah.
I love that.
But I like the other side of the producing, not the paperwork side of it.
Yeah, neither did I know. The
Uh,
paperwork that can be left for somebody who does love the paperwork. It's the creative side, really.
right, right. And
Yeah.
there's both that. There's creative and paperwork. And I was lucky enough that my producers were both of that, but I'm just on the creative side. So, it's great. And I
You're
just
doing
love being
great
in
things.
control.
Yeah,
I love
being
being
in
in
control.
control. I love watching 100 different audition tapes for 14 different characters. I love talking to Jeff Gaffner, my casting director, every day about who he thinks would be great, people that I've never heard of because I've never heard of anyone. And just being in the loop of it all, seeing, getting quotes for different locations and being in charge of everything from like what's for lunch to call time to this to that. So yeah, it's I look,
I
acting's
love
a
that part of the biz. Yeah. It's
acting's a passion, but you have to you can't put all your eggs in one basket, and you have to be able to do you have to offer more than just one thing if you want to
yes.
succeed. You know, I mean, look at you,
Well,
comedian,
thank you. I
actor,
try.
podcast, direct, everything.
But well, you have to. I feel like I had to, especially when people weren't giving me opportunities and I was going on so many auditions and I was like, I'm a very 1 + 2 = 3 kind of person. I'm like, what can I do other than if these movie roles aren't working, let's say right now, or the stories aren't being told that I want to tell, what can I do other than that? And yeah, I mean, you should
And
be
you
able,
have to
you're right.
create your own opportunities,
Yeah,
exactly what we're doing and the people that we surround ourselves are
right.
doing.
And that's why I'm excited to collaborate with you guys more. And I'm so proud of you guys. Congratulations, Mazal Tov. And we're going to talk a little bit about mental health. Like, how do you cope with or tips that you can give us, the audience, of mental health? Like, what do you do for yourself? I know you mentioned you go to the gym at 5 a.m. Does it take all that stuff to become successful too? Right? Like, we can't be sitting here smoking. I mean, not that smoking pot. I
Right.
mean, you can't be a drug addict and an alcoholic and be like, hey, let me be a movie star.
Right.
No.
Listen, I'm a big advocate. I've dealt with a lot of mental health issues. I started going to therapy when I was 10 years old. I still in therapy today. I actually just started therapy back up after like 6 or 7 years off. So I'm really excited about that. I think the biggest thing is like you have to like find a routine that works for you.
Okay.
And I get a lot of anxiety. I've dealt with depression, and my outlets for that are working out like a crazy maniac, playing basketball, talking to someone. I think it's very important to, if you hold everything in, that's not healthy. You have to, I'm a big advocate in therapy. Just letting it out. I'm a big, like, find what works for you as an outlet. And you don't have to tell anyone. Some people, aren't comfortable sharing, what they're going through. And that's part of what why I made Break. Cause like this character I played is going through so much and he doesn't want to like share it with anyone. And that's things I dealt with as a kid growing up. And I'm so much more free now to help others and, with the struggles that I went through and how I can relate or how they can relate to me. And the biggest thing is like finding that outlet, Chanel. So like for me, it's working out, playing basketball,
Yeah, it's finding an outlet.
seeing a
You're right.
therapist, but like no one's perfect. And, like everyone is dealing with something and it's okay to not be okay. You know what
Ah,
I mean?
I love that. Yes.
It,
Yes.
it
It's
it is
okay.
because no one's perfect and everyone has their shortcomings. And it's like, how can you deal with your shortcomings and still, move forward,
Right.
and once you figure out like, and that's, I mean, look, people can help you with that, but that's really like a thing that you have to find out on your own because no one knows you as well as you know yourself.
That's beautifully said. I couldn't say that, but really, that's beautifully said. And thank you for sharing that because we need that inspiration. You're right. And I mean, because even when you're going through, different roles, different movies, um, and you're stressed, I'm sure like everybody's stressed, but you're still always so like you're such a gentleman, you're so graceful, you're never, losing it. And I think that's important. I think it's important to find those outlets.
100%.
Don't go
So,
0 to 100 like me sometimes, but because
hey,
you can't
listen,
internalize.
I'm 0 to 100 a lot of times, and that's okay
Isn't
too.
that also charismatic about us just a little bit? That's okay.
That's okay. It is
Just
what it
go.
is.
I'm like, if you trigger me one more time, I've had so much patience with this specific person. And then, like, right, you get to a point where, like, we're just human too.
Right. You know what? You're just human, and you got to give people the benefit of the doubt sometimes, and you can't, what I've learned is like I used to be such a serious person. Like you can't take life all that seriously because
Yeah.
like it just goes by so quickly, and like
Yes.
just like enjoy what you enjoy with the people you enjoy doing it with, and it sounds so cliche, but it just makes life like so much better.
It's
The
so much
small
better.
things, being with the people you just like being with, like changes your mood instantly, like
Yeah.
it, so yeah.
I love that. Is there one actor that you want to work with, like a well-known actor that you haven't worked with yet that you'd like to?
I mean, like Denzel's at the top of the list for sure. I mean, Christian Bale's like another guy
Oh,
that just
yes.
transforms every role he plays. I mean, obviously, Leo, DiCaprio is unbelievable.
Those are good picks.
Yeah, Catherine Zeta-Jones is like, there's so many, and one day I will,
When you will, it's coming, it's happening. It's happening. I mean,
Um,
look at this. You look at the cast of all the movies of all the biggest celebrities you're and the talent you're working with. I'm so proud of you. One tip.
I mean, Scarlett Johansson, I
Oh,
can't leave her out. Oh,
oh, and she's a Jewish woman. Wait, are you single, by the way?
I am.
You
I
are
am.
single. Okay, we're gonna talk a little bit. We talk about on Chanel in the City, just
All
tips
right.
from a man dating in
Okay.
Hollywood, in the entertainment industry, because I can't keep it together. So tell us, like, well, you're also young still. You're young still.
Oh man, I don't feel young. Jessica Chastain's another one. I just want to
Oh,
throw that
yeah,
out
yeah,
for
yeah.
future. I just
Put it in the
auditioned for something
universe.
she's
Yeah,
attached to, so we'll see.
I love
Uh,
that.
Dating. Okay, what do you want to know?
How to not be single, or no, how to keep a man. Tips on how to keep a man.
Um, like let them like do their thing.
Okay.
It
Okay.
sounds cliche, but
Okay.
like
I
just
like
like
this advice. Yes.
it's nothing crazy. Like let him. I'm not saying like 100% like I think like you got to spend time with your significant other, but like I think it's important that like you each have your own interests outside of like the relationship, and like you like doing this, and like, oh, go do your thing, like go watch football with the boys on Sunday all day, or like go whatever it is, like you gotta like, I think it's very important that like while you like live your life together, like each of you have things that you don't depend on the other person for. You
Totally.
know,
I love that. That's really great advice. I think most people don't realize that. And if they take it, it'll be a healthier relationship.
let me ask you this. Give me an advice for a female now.
Oh, how to keep a girl? I
Yeah,
mean, I'm sure a lot of women, they don't throw themselves at you all the time. I'm sure
no,
they
no,
do.
no.
Look at him smiling. Guys, look how cute this man is,
Anyway,
how
so
handsome
what?
anyway. But I was going to say, my tip is okay, for men, I think we want the man to take, even though we pride on being feminist and independent and equal, we want the man to always take the lead and kind of like fight for us. So I think a guy should always ask a girl on a date, pick the restaurant, take the lead. It's okay to be like, hey, I like you. I want to take you out. Because as women, we find that sexier. We don't find it as I think the culture has become so normal that you think ghosting is sexy, or like I'm not going to pay attention to her, or I'm not going to ask her out. I think that's bad. I think you should totally, if you like a girl, ask her out, and if she says no, all right, you move on, and you still
Move
you still
on. It's
act,
all
but you're
good.
still nice to her. That's the whole thing. Like you said, you still let her do her thing. You're because women come around when you're nice to them. When you act like a dick, you think that it's turning them on. That's when they're like, I don't want to, yeah, hang out with this person anymore.
So you like when a guy takes control, which
Yeah.
100%, and confidence, obviously.
Confidence is key. Yes, it's all like it makes you sexier and hotter with confidence, you know?
100%.
Like you're a handsome man, but even what makes you more handsome, with all due respect, I'm not trying to make you feel awkward, but like
No,
that
no,
you have
no.
confidence, that you're secure with yourself and you're a beautiful person. That to me and to most women, I think men don't realize that to most women, that's hot. And taking the lead. Like
100%.
I love that. Yeah. And not being psycho a little bit. I mean, I could not becoming obsessive and possessive, which women can tend to do, but that's
Guys
in our,
can too. Guys can too.
can they? See, I've been having this
Not
talk with
me.
my homies. I
Definitely,
know, but
definitely
wait,
not
what?
me.
I think there needs to be like a balance, and that's hot, you know, like where you're like kind of obsessed, but not all the way obsessed. You're just,
Right, right, right.
but guys get like that. I've been hearing that lately, but I don't
I
see it.
know, guys. I'm not like that. I'm
Yeah,
so like, hey, like whatever you want to do, go. Like have a great time. Like I'm so big on like, like do whatever you want
like
to
that
do.
too. Yeah.
Because I think having your freedom is important. But I know some guys that are like very, very like that. But I think it just comes back to them being insecure about like themselves.
And why do you think men have a hard time to commit in general if they like a woman? Like I feel like they'll be obsessed with a woman and then they can't commit. Is it freedom? Is it a freedom thing?
I think it could be a freedom thing. I think it could be they're just like scared of like what that looks like because of a past relationship, or like
Right.
how their upbringing maybe, or it could be like a whole lot of, it could be a whole bunch of different things, you
Yeah.
know?
I think you just need to like treat people everyone with respect and realize you can end up hurting people's feelings regardless. So yeah, tread lightly, no?
The biggest thing is communication, you know?
Communication.
I think so many people are afraid to speak their minds of like how they feel.
Yeah.
Um, because that's something you do in therapy, and a lot of people don't go to therapy to talk about like how they feel. So like talking about how you feel, if you don't ever talk about how you feel, can be difficult.
That's beautifully said. That's so true. You're even inspiring me more to just talk about how I feel more, you know? And again, you can it's in certain way you can do it in a nice way. You don't have to scream, you don't have to like
It's
yell at
all about
someone.
your approach, you know?
Yeah,
And
totally.
take your girl to a comedy show, right?
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
exactly.
It's you're like exactly. That's exactly how it is. Um anything else you want to plug right now before we wrap?
Anything else? Just you never know how close you are to your goal. So I think like if you have a dream, or if you like are really serious, or like committed, or passionate about something, like do it, because I think so many people don't get the opportunity to chase their dreams about what they're passionate about. So if you have the opportunity, like you're so lucky, and it's never too late to like start, whatever it is. And it's like small stars. Start with like whatever it is, like it's never too late to start, you know?
I love that. We're gonna do a couple rapid fire questions. What okay, so tell us a couple about your influences growing up as an actor. So what were your like influences in acting? Like who influenced you the most?
Well, like Remember the Titans is like my favorite movie. Good Will Hunting. Honestly, like I wanted to be an actor when I saw Star Wars.
Oh,
Um,
right. Yeah, a
I
lot
don't
of
know,
people.
like Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman. Who Natalie Portman's like one of the best. That's another one I'd love to work with. I mean, I saw her and I was like, that was the first time I think I ever fell in love with a girl. I was like 9 years old. I'm like, I want to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
Um, so that
She
was
is
that.
beautiful. Yeah.
Um, yeah, like Heath Ledger, I have a
Yeah.
huge obsession with, obviously, like the Joker, and rest in peace, one of the best ever. Like,
Rest in peace. Yeah.
oh yeah, all Angelina Jolie's another one. Just so much confidence on screen, so much presence, just so sexy, like in how she does everything. Like so, like yeah.
Love that. What's your one tip to becoming a successful actor or artist? Or and if somebody, or how do
Uh,
they start to get into the industry? What would you recommend?
how would they just you um just if you want to be, just create on your own, take acting classes. If you want to be an actor, like it doesn't, you don't just start off like on the Warner Brother lot. I mean, that's like a
Right.
lottery ticket. You gotta start creating your own stuff, start taking classes, start doing scenes with, another friend, like find a movie and recreate that scene,
Right.
anything,
That's amazing. Yeah, I love that. That's great advice. One thing for Chanel in the City audience, we want to know what's your favorite place in Hollywood or LA we can check out, like restaurant or a place that you like to go and escape, or New York. You can give us, two cities.
So, couple play, obviously, like you can't really escape it. West Hollywood, the restaurant. Um, it's amazing. Erewhon, obviously. I love
Yeah.
Erewhon. Other than that, yeah, New York,
Or where do you like going in New York?
or Charles Pryor, the best burger I've ever had.
For real? Oh, I gotta try that. I love burgers. Oh, can you hear me?
Oh, you know what? You went to my headphones. All
Oh,
good.
okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Could you hear me the whole time?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, great. Four Charles Prime Rib. Went there for the first time when I was in New York. Best burger I've ever had. It's very hard to get in there. Shout out my boy Colby Tucker for getting me a reservation. Love that place. All Cheval is another one in New York. A little easier to get into. Same owner. Best burger you'll have.
Love it. What do you do to prepare to get into your any character? So like give us like a routine. Do you, read your
Yeah.
lines? Do you meditate first? Do you need quiet? Like, do you need to escape from people for a week? Talk to us about that.
First thing I'll do after reading like the script or my scene probably 10 times, I'll just ask like my dad or my mom, somebody that's not an actor, I'll say, I'll be in character and I'll say, I need 50 questions. Ask me anything about my character. Oh, what's your character's favorite ice cream flavor? Oh, what was the struggle? Do you have a heartbreak? Any question, like if I were asking you, I'm just in character and I'm answering any question about anything. And that helps me
So
build my
smart.
character.
That's
Yeah,
so
that's
smart.
like 50, 60 questions. And I'll just have somebody that's not in entertainment. I'm just like, yo, I'm going to be in character. I need you to ask me 100 questions and I'll answer that as my character, those questions.
I love that. That's really actually a great tip. I mean, because then you get
Yeah.
into the real character. You like know who that person is, and it's
And
like muscle
it
memory.
helps so much. Like you wouldn't even, yeah, try that. I'm telling
Okay,
you.
that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, Darren Weiss, you are amazing. We love you. This has been a phenomenal interview. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being so open and supportive. We're so proud of you. Mazal Tov on all the success. You have all these movies. We're going to list them right now. Please check them out. Americano, when does it come out so we can tune in?
Probably in the fall,
In the fall. So you're going to tune in. First of all, we got Break coming out,
April
right?
26th,
April 26th. Mob Cops.
probably in the fall.
Okay. We got a Bardejov with it, which is March 19th, right around the corner. Please, guys, I encourage you. I'm pushing you guys. Please watch it. Darren is phenomenal in it. Danny A is phenomenal in it. And Robert Davi. What a great movie about the Holocaust and based on Emil, who it's Emil Hirsch. Is that his last
Um,
name?
yes.
Yes, who
No,
was
oh,
no.
Emil
Fish.
Hirsch
I'm
is
sorry, Hirsch. Of
the,
course. Oh my God, I just
the
got that. Yeah, Emil
talented,
Hirsch is in one of
yeah,
my favorite actors in Inside Man
Inside
and The
Man.
Engineer.
That I was also in
That
actually.
you were also in. I mean, that's
Yeah.
incredible too. Yeah, I watched Engineer, by the way, like 3 times. You were incredible
Oh,
in
it's
that as
great.
well. Which is also about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. You know, I keep bringing it up. I'm sorry because it's important. And a lot of people are not doing those movies. So please check it out. Follow at Darren Weiss. Darren, where can they follow you? We're gonna also put a Chiron in the
Instagram,
back.
just my name, Darren Weiss 8 at gmail. Or excuse me, my email, Darren Weiss 8 on Instagram.
Ladies, don't contact him unless he wants it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
DM him.
email
DM
me.
him.
All right. Darren Weiss 8 on Instagram. I post a lot of updates there. And, The Italians, another film I shot with Michelle Danner last summer. The talented Abigail Breslin from Little Miss Sunshine. It's a comedy about an Italian family. I had a fun little role in that. That'll be out this summer. So there's some things to look forward to.
I love that. Oh, a lot of people say, because I know you do, it's a lot of actors will say, I can't do this anymore because I don't feel I'm getting famous or the recognition that I want to get. Is there anything you want to say towards that? Because I don't think it's about the fame necessarily. I think it's about just keep doing it, right?
Just keep doing it. If you have the passion, like that should be the reason for
Right.
wanting to do it, and enjoying the process and playing characters that are fun and unique to you,
Yeah, right. And
you
then
know?
you'll be famous like Darren. He's been in all these movies. That's the whole point. That's how you're
Uh,
out there.
right.
He's like,
I
please stop
don't, who cares
gassing me.
about that? I just want to keep playing like great, fun, meaningful stuff.
Yeah, I love that. No, you're incredible. Thank you. Please follow at Darren Weiss 8, right? At Darren Weiss 8 on all social media platforms. And we're going to have more information on the Chanel in the City iHeartRadio. We're going to put some links towards Darren's bio and the movies coming out. So really, I'm so grateful that you did this. I'm honored. I really feel honored
No, I'm
because you're
honored.
such
Thank
a
you so
busy
much
man.
for taking the time on this Friday afternoon to talk to me and be on your incredible show. And I always call you when I'm in New York, and I look forward to seeing you soon, either in New York or LA.
Yeah, of course. Me too. I love you. I'm sending you love and I thank you.
Hey, everybody, this is Darren Weiss from Break coming out April 26th. I'm on Chanel in the City with my girl, Chanel Omari, on the iHeart Radio station.